Hello, Tammy, Texas Desert Rose here. Happy Saturday morning. Without the ice and snow outside, at least here in West Texas, there isn't. Um, I know a lot of you either have heat right now or you have definitely a lot of ice. So we have a double treat today with Miss Ife. Hello, hello, Ifetayo.
Hello, hello.
You
I'm
guys,
glad to be back
Ife.
again.
Good, good. I think has it been like a month ago that you and I talked?
And 3 weeks to a month. I don't remember exactly. It's been that long. Yeah.
Wow, it's been quite a month, huh?
Yeah. It has been quite a month. A
Uh,
lot is going on. Yeah.
wow. So, I mean, it's just really, I'm trying to get rid of this extra box here. I apologize, guys. Let me see here. Okay, I think we're set. I had it requested. One, got a lot of great comments on you, Ifitayo, of people kind of like listening to the interview and to the first podcast and kind of feeling like it was a shot in the arm.
Oh, great.
And it was really, the
Yeah, awesome.
ultimate, probably something you hear all the time, but it was an ultimate compliment, I thought, and had a request about, well, two things. Doing
Mhm.
some research on longevity.
Okay.
I mean, I think the top issue, there's quite a few, right?
Mhm.
Um, but the top issue was loneliness.
Yes.
And certainly as you go into quote unquote retirement, which we'll talk more about, but I feel like you are such a good example of someone who lives life to the fullest, whatever you play hard, but you also rest hard,
Yes.
you honor self. And
Yes. Yes.
as I watch, I'm in my process of kind of thinking about what do I want retirement to look like? It's
Hmm.
not the definition that I once assumed or that I notice when I talk to people. The assumption is that you retire and you just stay home and just quote unquote do nothing. Now,
Yes.
no shade if somebody really needs to
Yes.
be at home all the time, but if you're not connecting,
Yes.
it's going to cause problems. So, what are your thoughts
Yes.
on that? And welcome, welcome, welcome.
Oh, thank you. It's a delight to be here with you again, Tammy. I love being with you and your viewers. And I'm in total agreement with what you just shared. I think it's just really important for us to to be proactive in thinking about what I want my life to look like when I reach, retirement age or elderhood or
Mhm.
whatever. And to give it forethought, um, and to realize that what we were told in the past about retirement. I mean, there was a big hype probably before, I know before you were born, Tammy, but in my youth, the hype was you're going to work, work, work for 20 years, 25 years, 30 years, whatever, so that you can retire, so that you can retire, and so that you can enjoy your life. That was the hype that I remember hearing, and that my family and those in our community, that was the word on the block, and that was your aspiration. At least I know for my family, I'm the only one in my family who is self-employed and has been forever. Everyone else retired yeah, actually my all my siblings, my father and grandmother who all worked for the government and retired.
Oh,
And now I have a niece who is just turned 50, and she is
nice.
looking forward to retiring,
Quote unquote.
quote unquote, in the next 5 years. And so the picture that was painted is that, okay, so you're going to retire, you're going to have a pension and money coming in, and then you can have enjoy your life. You will have your life. You don't have to go to that 9 to 5. You can go fishing, you can travel, you can stay home and watch TV, um, all of those things.
Right.
And no one ever spoke about um, how else might you use your energy in that time that you have stopped having the obligation of going to a 9 to 5 job. How else will you um, engage with other people? How else will you have feel or and experience
What else might come up?
a sense of purpose? A
Oh, you
sense of
said the magic
purpose.
words.
I had a purpose. This is a quote, or I'm just making this up. I had a purpose for 30 years, 25 years. I had a purpose. I went somewhere every day. I did whatever was expected of me that supported something in the long run. It was supporting something. So I had a purpose. So now all of a sudden that purpose is gone. And that was a big chunk of time, 40 hours a week, more or less, is a big chunk of time of one's energy and purpose. Okay. So now I'm like, this is a still hypothetical. I'm like, okay, I don't have to go 9 to 5. I don't have to get up early and get dressed and go somewhere, and punch a clock or whatever.
Get
I
to
don't have
bed
to
at a
do
certain
that.
time.
Yes. So most folks have not thought about, okay, so what am I going to do? Am I really going to just lounge for 40 hours a week? Am I really going to fish for 40 hours a week? What am I going to do that fills the void in me of purpose? Of me being purposeful, of someone looking at me every day as I came into work and said, "Hey, Joe." And they knew that I fit into the team in whatever my capacity was, and I had a purpose in that whole scheme. It's very, I'm going to ask you this, Tammy, for our own mental health and emotional health, for us not to feel a part of or have a purpose. Isn't that just, can you feel that in you? That feeling of just out on a raft by yourself out. So
Without connection, because we are
without
social
connection.
beings, right?
Yes, we are. Yeah.
Even along we because of ice and stuff, I ended up
Yes.
having a 4-day weekend.
Yes.
And it made me very aware of how much I need the routine.
Yes.
That when I'm
Yes.
no longer reporting to a job position, I have to create that routine for my own
Yes.
well-being. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely. Oh, so much so. I have I am one who never retired. I worked for Congress for 10 years. That was really the longest that I've ever worked for anyone. And then when I left Congress in 89, um, from that point on, I've been self-employed with some instances of temporary work as I was creating my business. So this was my plan. And here I am 81, and I don't see an end to my life as in serving others. I see clients, I teach. So for me, this fulfills it all for me. There's always folks who I am supporting in the way that I support for what they need, and
Well, you're doing what I believe we're called to do in our
yes,
crone season of sharing your education,
yes,
sharing your
yes,
wisdom. We're all called to
yes.
do that.
Th- Thank you, Tammy. That is a piece that we can share. Maybe should chat about that for a moment. Is
Please.
everyone aware that we were all born with purpose? We were all born, we came into embodiment on the earth with a purpose, with a soul purpose. So, it's really way old school to believe that all my life is to come work for someone for whatever number of years and then retire, and then there's nothing else but
Get
for
the
me
grandfather
to,
clock, get the rocking chair, and go home and sit.
yes, there is still purpose, that your being, your soul, your spirit, your heart, there is still something that we each have, um, that is inborn for us to contribute. And that, in that way of contribution, we join in community with others or join in partnership with others. And we have a routine. We're expected to show up somehow, even if it's virtual. We're expected to show up at a certain time with a routine, or I'm expected to meet with certain people at a certain time. I'm expected to see clients or students at a certain time. So I have my own routine. My routine is very flexible, which works for me, but yet and still I know every day during the week I have 2 days off that I don't see clients, but all in those other days, I schedule people and meetings and writing and whatever else. So I do have my own routine, as flexible as it is. And because
Constantly
flexibility,
striving.
yeah, it works for
And
me.
folks, this is what happens when you have a life like this and full of purpose and sharing that mission, and you can be 81 and be amazingly spry and
Yes,
so sharp and aware. Like I
yes,
wouldn't take you on in anything that you and I know your heart and mine too. We can
yes,
disagree and
yeah,
be in the same room
yes,
and be
yes,
connected, but
right.
you're on top of your stuff.
Yes, I am. And I can't imagine, Tammy, if I weren't engaged every day, um, what would happen to my mind? What would happen to my capacity um to be wise, to
Yeah.
to to create, to support those who are coming up? I can't imagine what would happen to my mind if I wasn't engaged with problem solving, um, for myself and for those folks who I'm serving. So there's a certain amount of mental activity that has to happen to create solution, and to not only create solution but to implement, um, those strategies. I just can't imagine. And some folks will say, well, Ifetayo, you're just different and you're just this and that. And I still believe we all have a choice. I'm different in my way.
Absolutely. And that idea of choice is
It's
what gives you
Yes,
energy. It's
it does.
why 10 years working for Congress, you
Mhm.
had to have your independence and your autonomy, or that never would have worked because you must
Right.
have it. It's the idea that I do have choice, no matter how unhappy I might get. I have a
Yeah.
choice.
Yes.
That's a
That
basic tenet that I
it's a
think is
basic.
lost.
And you're so right. Oh my goodness. I love that you said that, because a lot of folks don't get that. They really don't get that. They feel victimized by the circumstance. And
Because I
those
feel
of us,
trapped.
I mean, there's a lot of people in the world who don't have choice. We know that. There's a lot of people in the world but the majority of us, the folks that we are talking to, and in reality, we have choice. We have a choice of where we want to live. We have a choice of who we want to partner with. We have choices about how I want to spend my time, what I want to eat, what I want to wear. We have a lot of choices. And how do I want to live my life? So take example, one of my sisters who retired at 50, she was 55, 56, and
Young.
she had worked 20 years, at least 20 years, and maybe more, for the organization she retired from. And I remember her being so excited and just looking forward to this day where she could just do what I want to do. And I'm telling you, Tammy, before the year was over and within months, she was calling me with her depression. She said, I feel so depressed. I don't know what's wrong, Ifetayo. Um, and what I knew and what I realized was that she, how can I say it? She had no purpose.
It's too
She
much.
now had her retirement pension and she went shopping a lot and whatever, all those things. And but that was not feeding her soul or making her feel a part of anything. She was now not going to the office, not having lunch with people, not with the people she did, you know. So I suggested that she have a therapist or a life coach, and the same suggestion from that person came to her that you need to find something else to do. You're too young to not have a purpose, something to go to every day. And she did, and volunteering was what they came up with because she really did not want to have another job, which I can understand that. But she did realize that she could have purpose by going 3 times a week as a volunteer at a hospital, and that felt fed her. And then she felt found something else eventually, but because this has been years now. But it is the choice that we don't know that we have until we might be forced into making a plan or a decision. But it's a beautiful thing to, and I love that you're bringing this forward, to think about it before something happens,
Must.
before you 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, whatever, 80. Think about my choices. Okay, so I've worked here for 30 years. I've done what maybe I might want to live in Arizona. You know what? I'm thinking I might just want a whole check. Why not? You have we have the right, we have the right of choice. We have the gift of choice, is what I'm saying. I live in
Yeah.
South Carolina now. This is not my birth home, Washington, D.C. And
What a
all my,
big change.
yes, but this is the home of my heart. And I knew that once I became, my responsibilities in Washington were complete, this is where I was going to move to. And it's been 25 years. So I was, what, 55? And so I made that choice. And it was what I knew. I had that power of choice. I could have stayed put. I could have and been, complaining and miserable and not liking whatever the environment was. I had a choice, even though my family was not going to move here with me, that I was going to have to make friends and do all the thing, you know.
You know what I'm thinking of as you're talking? I
Yes.
see that, and I may have mentioned, I know I've mentioned this in another podcast, it may have been ours, but have you seen the meme or the gif of the elephant who's standing there and he has a rope around his leg and he thinks he's trapped, but only because
Yes.
he tried to move and that rope is not attached to anything?
Yes.
Fine. It's not that people plan to feel trapped, they don't know they're not.
Mhm.
It's like a whole mind shift until
Yes.
something traumatic or majorly
Yeah.
eye-opening happens. That's how
Yes.
it's happened to me. The
Yeah.
reason why I'm doing a podcast, the reason why I'm being so pretty open with my life, going to get more open, is I have nothing to lose.
Right.
I literally
I
have
know.
nothing to lose.
Absolutely. And absolutely. And so much beauty to gain. Our reconnecting and coming back into this space together, it's such a gift for the both of us. And
It is.
it
It is.
really, for you to have found your way into podcasting and then have found your way into choices of Yes, and thinking about Ifetayo. So
Oh,
there
it's
again,
so exciting. I get so excited because people want to share their stories and people need to hear that
yes,
their story is not the only one. You know,
exactly.
as
That's
far
it.
as retirement or life goals and mission, I think of my mom, she worked for a factory, uh,
Yes,
and her goal was to make it 30 years and get her grandfather clock.
yes,
Well, because of she tested torches for all those years, that repetitive motion
oh,
and stuff.
yes,
So she had to go have carpal tunnel surgery
yes,
on both arms, and
yes.
she had to make it back within a certain amount of time. Well, she wasn't released to make it back, and so
She lost all of that accumulation.
done. The
Ah,
depression that she went through, which is
oh my goodness.
a mental, emotional, a
Yes.
major crisis. And when she picked herself up by the bootstraps, so to speak, and said,
Mhm.
okay, I'm not over the hill. I still have life left in me. She was probably 50 years old. I'm older than
Yes.
her now.
Yes.
And she decided to go and do part-time at a school serving kids and fell in love
Yes.
with doing that work
Yes.
and got a rocking chair at the end of that.
Right. Oh, yes. I do know. Yeah. But still,
The
maybe,
mission, the life purpose.
yes. At 50, she did not say it's over, where I was is no longer available to me, so I'll just sit and sulk and sit and just die, really.
Yeah, it
Basically,
was
it's
a,
very,
it was what is it called? Dark Night of the Soul for years
yes,
ago for her.
absolutely, absolutely. I can just imagine. Yeah,
I've been looking over, kind of personally researching, but
yes.
overall just realizing, the research as well as I do, if I tell you that, someone doesn't, who retires away from a place rather than retiring to a place. And
Hmm.
everybody keep it in mind, I use the word retire. You're not retiring. It has a whole new meaning now.
Yes,
And I think of my retirement, it's going to be to offer me the chance to do everything I want to do
yes,
without having to say, okay, I'm going to have to put this off till tomorrow or till next week.
yes,
Get in bed and I need to get up or I'm too tired after work. Going to be none of that. I'm going to
yes,
dive headlong. That's
yes,
retirement, right?
yes, yes.
But the research does not do very well for someone, particularly men, but
Uh,
for someone who doesn't retire into something.
yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. That, and I love how you're saying that retiring into something.
Mhm.
And because that story has shifted, the storyline has shifted. You're now giving us the up-to-date storyline of retirement. Because I earlier gave the old explanation of retirement. So
Okay.
now you're giving us the up-to-date retiring into something. And as we both know, statistics and the research has shown we're living longer now than ever. There was just a report this week that in America, in the United States of America, that I think it's 78 now or something, 70 something is now the medium age, and that's high, and we're moving, up. We're healthier longer. um so the retiring into the next part of my life, what is the next part of my life, and where am I, what am I retiring into,
And
um
do we, I mean, I know this is kind of a new slant on this
yeah.
conversation, but the idea of not waiting until 65.
Oh yeah, that's a new slant. Yep.
I mean, like the push now, and I like
Yeah.
it,
Yes.
is why are you waiting past
Yes.
55, 56?
Yes, exactly. That is true. It's a beautiful, and the capacity, if Social Security is still around, then take it at 62. Don't wait until 70. That's the new push for that piece also, because we don't know. I mean, that's an uncertainty. And also to support the lifestyle that you are possibly creating for your retiring into, that just gives you more freedom, with that additional income. I'm as you're speaking, I'm thinking again of my niece who is a federal probation officer, and she went into this job pretty much after she has a master's, and pretty much went in. I would say she was at least maybe 25, 24. So when I said to you, she's looking at retirement now, she's 50, just turned 50. So she is at
Our
least
service in and all that.
for 25 years at this job. It's amazing to think of that. So as she was sharing with me, she only has, I don't know, 2 or 3 more years to meet whatever the requirements are for her place of retirement. And she's, really looking forward to that. But she already has um, other interests, Tammy.
Of
She already
course.
has some thoughts about what she's going to do with
She's being
herself.
smart about it.
Yes, that's so what you're saying. And the choices, knowing that we have a choice and really giving some thoughts and energy before the event, before it comes up. This is how I'm going to, this is what I'm going to retire into. And this is what is going to give me a sense of connection, a sense of purpose, keep me in the game, keep me in community, um, keep my brain cells active and my body healthy.
And the
So
heart brain connection, speaking of connection, of connecting
yes,
with other
yes,
social beings,
yes,
the research
absolutely,
shows that to be overall, one, the detriment, the lack of it,
yes.
and the saving grace.
Oh
Like
yeah, yes,
even connecting in groups that you don't completely love
yes.
is
Oh
still
yeah,
better than not connecting.
it really is. I've been at least 10 years or probably more. I go to water aerobics twice a week at the
So good
YMCA.
for you.
Now, um, and and because so many of us in that class have
Mhm.
been there all this time, that is a community for us. And some of the folks in my water aerobics class come to the Y 5 days a week doing different activities, because once you join the Y, you can go to everything. So some
Right.
go to yoga one day, but so that social connection, even if they do nothing else out socially, they are tending to their health and well-being and being in community. You know
Yes.
what I'm saying? It doesn't have to be another job.
No.
Find your place in community where people have a like interest, and you can connect as many times as you can in your week. It's necessary. It's necessary.
Yeah, I was thinking, about my weekend being so full, this
Yes,
afternoon, go to the local library and they have sound healing there.
yes,
Tomorrow is
yes,
yoga.
yes,
And if you're not into all of this, I'm talking to the
yes.
audience here, that's okay, but
It's
finding
okay.
and taking some risks because, I know some people that would have a hard time just showing up someplace and not knowing people, but
Yes,
pushing yourself past that comfort.
yes,
Just push
yes.
it, push it.
That's it.
I know no one today that I know of. Maybe I
Right.
will.
I understand. I understand exactly. I'm willing to do that also in my life. I'm willing to
You do that.
show up with places that I don't know anyone, but I know that whatever the activity is one that I will enjoy. And then perhaps there'll be somebody next to me that we have something in common and we'll talk to each other, or perhaps not.
Yeah.
But at least we're going to be in the same space, with other beings, and it's energetically feeding us, even if we're not socially connecting or communicating, we're in the same space with other beings who are experiencing the same thing we're experiencing. So,
Well, some out there are probably thinking, but what if I don't like it?
if don't like what they're,
Like if I go try something new and what if I don't like it? Like I walked into yoga and I wasn't sure if I would like it or not. And
yes,
if you don't, you don't. You keep trying, you know?
that's the gift of choice, isn't it?
It is.
Okay, I can choose if I have the gift of discernment, which says I like it or I don't. And then I have the gift of choice that says, so what else can I do? It's we're
Or if you keep going, you might start liking it or connect to
yes,
someone. And, there is, I'll tell you, going to yoga and it's yin yoga, which
yep,
is a little
yes,
bit lower key and you do some
yes,
of the poses. And just being in the struggle with the same
yes,
people is kind of
yes.
fun.
I
Like you hear the
understand.
groaning across the room,
Yes, I
It's not
do.
bad. It's not horrible. It's not like
Yes,
going to take a aerobic class or something, which is also,
yes,
but,
yeah,
uh, or having the regular, when I moved here, I didn't know anybody in this
yes,
city, but going and finding a gym that had a good sauna, because sauna is
yes,
important and another longevity thing. And I knew
yes,
I would get to the gym for the sauna and then I'd work out, but I won't
yes.
go for the workout and then
Right.
do the sauna.
Yes, I understand. Yeah, I
So,
do
what
the
all do you
same.
have going on in your life that you're willing to share that is part of your routine?
Well, I just shared about my water aerobics,
Mhm.
at least twice a week. Sometimes I get there a little often, but it's a drive for me.
Sure.
Every day, well, when I'm not going to water aerobics, which is an 8:30 class in the morning, um, I usually will go for a long walk at the ocean that's not far from me.
Nice.
So nature is a big part of my life that I love and um, feeds me. The walk at the ocean is, I can't even tell you. It's hard to imagine unless this is something that really feeds you, and it does. So, and I
It
live in a
does.
beautiful place with a lot of oak trees, a lot of beautiful trees and forests
Full of
around.
history.
Yes. So I can just go out and look at the beauty and be in the beauty of nature that's around me. I'm a big reader, so if I'm not reading a physical book, I'm listening to an audible book. Um,
Nice.
so those, and I love to cook. I love to bake. I love to play with my friends. I now am taking an art class. Okay, so at 80, I enrolled in my first art class, and
First one,
oh gosh, yes.
that's
I,
inspiring. I love it.
I never thought that you know how when how you have that trauma experience, or some of us in elementary school where the teacher says you didn't do that right, and you have to
Critical.
look at a picture and you have to replicate it. Like second grade, I was supposed to do exact, and I got a bad grade, and I was a student, but I got a C in art, and that just stayed with me forever. So, Tammy, I just have made up I'm a creative person, and people often will approach me and say, "You must be an artist. You look like an artist." And I was
You
like,
have
"I wish
art
I
energy,
could.
totally.
I wish I could. I can't." Well, one of my friends here, she partnered too, but they're both friends of mine. They opened a place called The Arts on Port Royal, and
I
both of
think
them
I
are,
know this person.
yeah, and they're both artists. One is a oil painter of realism, of you're going to paint exactly what you see,
Like
and
still lifes and stuff.
she teaches that, yes. And her
Okay.
partner is an abstract painter. So her partner said to me, Ifetayo, I bet you could do abstract. And I was like, you think so? So I started. Tammy, I signed up for a class last year, January. As a matter of fact, it's been a year.
Wow.
And
You
and
made it
I
a
love it.
year.
I love it because it lets me express. It's expressionism. I don't have to draw or paint anything that is realistically, that's supposed to look like whatever. I express. So I most of my artwork is nature, trees. I love trees, but you can tell they're trees. They're not specifically trees, but they are expressions of trees. And
Right. I love
so
that.
I love it. And
Well, it
that's
hits the same part of your brain as going
yes,
to the ocean.
yes,
You
yes, it
know,
does. Because you have to feel and experience that you want to bring forward, if it's ocean or trees or flowers. So any rate, that has been one of my big and it clicks on another part of my brain, like you said, that and my capacity to I love to express through words and writing, but this is a different way for me to express what
taps into that right brain. I love
and
that.
and, and like I said, it's been a year. I went to a class last Saturday, and there's one coming up in a couple of Sundays I'll go to. So that's been feeding me. And that's new. Here I am, 81. Like I told you. Okay. So I went to massage school. I was 55. I was 50. No, I was 53 when I went to massage school. And I was the oldest in the class, of course, but I always wanted to become a massage therapist. And
I'm kind of
I,
surprised you were the oldest because that's usually when people go, now it's my turn.
yeah, but this I don't know. This was in the 90s. Yeah, it was in the 90s before I moved here, but no, I don't know. Maybe more and more folks are going to s- massage school tends to be younger people, who have
It's
decided,
true. Kind of
you
like
know,
going to a cosmetology school in a lot of ways.
yeah, they've decided this is what I want to do
Well,
for a
it's a
career.
physical occupation, very
It's a
physical.
physical, very physical. So I'm strong and I was strong then and I still am. But so I was able to have a thriving massage practice and I became a doula at 61.
And the
So for
Reiki work,
me,
yes.
yeah, I never could see an end, Tammy. I don't see the end of the road. So why can't I not become whatever I want to become at whatever age it is? As long as I still have the physical and mental capacities for that which I want to undertake, why not?
Well, and I think what you're saying is, if I have the ability and the energy, let's do it. And we're also
Yeah,
saying, do it, and the energy will be there.
that's right. Thank you.
Connection to people,
Yes,
connection to people. And that is the first thing.
yes,
I think that's the biggest surprise to many who do go into their last phase of life, the retirement or
yes,
whatever you want to call it,
yes,
is you know what? We have people built into our lives when we go to work every day.
yeah,
What happens when you don't have that? You've got
yes,
to be intentional about it, or it will shorten your life.
yes.
Will shorten your life.
It
And
really will.
notice whether you're introverted or extroverted, especially for extroverts. I'm an
Yes.
extrovert, and if I go very long without human connection,
Yeah.
I start to go dark
Yeah.
and I
I can
start to be
imagine.
more negative. It just feeds the
Yes.
soul. Well,
Yes.
it's true for introverts as well. It just takes a little bit longer.
I'm an introvert off the scale, believe it or not.
I can see
But
that.
I love people. I mean, I require a lot of solitude and a lot of time alone because I work with people so much, but I love people and that's what brings me out is I want to connect with people and I want to serve. But then I have to go back in a lot. And it's all
Well,
right.
because
I've
it'll
worked
zap
it
your
out.
energy, right?
Yes, exactly. My
Especially as an
energy.
empath. And I
Yeah.
know you
Oh,
are
yeah.
that with all the work
Yes.
that you do. There's
Yeah.
no way you could not be an empath.
Yeah.
That means that you're picking up on stuff when you're not even hyper aware of it.
Yes, absolutely. So the solitude is important for me. And once that's another that's another topic, Tammy. Know thyself. You
Mm.
know, it's the call to know who you are so that your life can flow beautifully. If you don't know who you are, if you don't know that you're truly an introvert who likes people, because you might like people, so you think you're an extrovert and you think you can handle all that energy, and you don't know, you're going to be sick. So know thyself. Um, I think that that's a really important um, advice. It's know
It is.
thyself.
And I feel like I know myself, but the older I get, I keep learning. I'm sure
Well,
that's true.
that piece I believe in is a forever learning, forever learning. I'm just learning things myself at this age, and a part of my whole life has been devoted to me uncovering who I truly am and serving people to help them uncover that in many ways. And I know that this is never over. This uncovering and this learning and this growing is never over until we're ready for it to be over, until we say this is enough. So,
Yeah. Our soul
yeah,
says we're
yeah.
done what we come here to do. Or as we kind of start to round up, is there any part that was kind of a surprise to you? I know you weren't, okay, it's time to retire. It's kind of like you morphed into your next season and it's just kind
Yes,
of kept morphing.
yes.
Any part that magic wand right now in your life that you would change? Knowing you've already changed it or you're working on changing it, but
How can I say this? One of the things that happened in my life that I would change is that I moved here 25 years ago in 2000. And in 2002, I relinquished my power of choice to some friends who lived in Vermont who decided that I needed to live up there with them. And I really, if I knew the South was where I needed to be, but because these were friends from a long time ago, and they had settled in Vermont and was growing a community. Then, after 2 years of being here in South Carolina, I just said, okay, I'll just come. Well, I stayed for 7 years trying. I was
a
trying to
long
make it
time.
work. It was long, but my commitment, I wanted to make sure that my commitment, how can I say it? That this really wasn't the place for me, but that I was fulfilling my commitment to being there as much as I could. Well, I did leave in 7 years, but the point of it is do not make your choices because somebody else wants you to do it. Make your
And
choices.
sometimes the only way to know that, Ifetayo, is to go and go, well, okay, no. Sometimes the only way to
Well,
know.
that is absolutely. It is sometimes. I wouldn't have known because I love these people. And so for me, the thought was I can give up the the home of my heart to go live in community with the folks who I've loved since the 70s. Um,
It's a conflict in values. Do I
it's a
follow my
conflict of
heart, or my
values.
heart is to be loyal to those I love and be around those I love? It
Yeah,
makes
but
sense.
I knew that this is where I belonged. But I thought love those folks could make the, because I loved them and they were in community that would make that could change it. But it didn't. It didn't. There were so many things that contrary to my spirit, okay? But it took me that long. So your question, I mean, to answer your question, that would be that's the one regret that I have really is
Cautionary tale for others.
that I did. And I don't regret the 7 years. I became a doula while I was there. I mean, there was a lot of good. I worked in mental health
Yes,
with
there was
kids when I
purpose
was
in that
there.
as well. Yeah.
Yeah, but it really was the reason for me going was because someone else wanted me to do that. And it wasn't because it was my heart that said that I wasn't following my heart. I was not following my heart. I was
I'm so glad
following.
you had that experience because I would imagine that you revisit that every time an opportunity comes up to listen to you.
Oh, it does. Oh, and it's also a teaching point for other folks that I mentor or that I'm with. That you really want to think about this. This is something you really want to feel into more than think about. You want to feel it, you know.
Yes.
And so that
That is something that definitely takes years and wisdom to, I don't know.
well, it does. And it's not as though this, I had a life partner, I was married, and we have to make some decisions and choices. It wasn't that. It was a group of friends, and I had no life commitment to them that way. So, you have to take all the things into consideration. I felt sort of obligated and felt like I could just give up my life here, and then I moved back here, of course. So I mean, that's the tail end of the story. I came back to where I knew I belonged and where I knew I I would flourish, and yeah,
Indeed. And
yeah.
probably more so had you not left at all.
Probably, that's another good point. I did go into therapy when I was there because I became very depressed, and I'm not prone to depression, and I was just wondering why. Why am I feeling so depressed? And luckily I was working in mental health, so it was easy enough for me to ask one of the therapists there if she would support me. And
And to deep dive into it a little bit.
and
Yeah.
it really brought forward. I mean, the first session was just like, woohoo! Everything opened up because it just came so clear
It was at
of
the surface, I suspect.
it was time for me to have that breakthrough. And then it took me 2 more years to really get the courage to say to my friends that I wasn't staying. I mean, I had the breakthrough and I knew that this was not my place, but I was still conflictual about my loyalty and my commitment, and realizing after a while that I have a commitment to myself, first of all, and
Correct. Good
then
point.
to others. Yeah. First
Wow.
of all, my commitment is to my well-being. There's no one else responsible for my well-being but me. And so it took, as I said, because I have a loyalty thing in me. I have a loyalty gene, and
Beautifully
and I
so.
I don't want to break people's hearts,
Sure.
if I can help it. But when it comes down to my own well-being, then I had to really, that was a time for me to really learn, Tammy, that
Oh,
I had
hugely.
it's big. Yeah, it's
And
really,
many that I talk to, and certainly in my own life, have learned that lesson of choosing self, usually in a relationship. Do I
yes,
choose
yes,
us or do I choose
choose,
me
yes,
in these
that's,
situations?
yes,
There was to choose us isn't choosing me. And this
yes,
came about in this way for you.
yes, absolutely. That's how it
Thank you
goes.
for your vulnerability
Yeah,
in that area. It's hard for many. You're such a wise soul. It's hard for many to admit any time that they feel like they made a mistake, which we
yeah.
both know is not a mistake.
Right, absolutely. There's no mistakes.
Nope.
There's
Nope.
no mistakes.
Just like with
And
your art.
right, there's
You
no
know,
mistakes.
little birds
Absolutely.
make the little birds.
Yes.
And
No,
that's another bird.
that's it. That's just a part of the journey. It's just a part of life and
Beautiful
lessons.
one.
Yeah.
And thank you for walking through this topic. And there's so much that can come out of this
Oh my
conversation
goodness. Yes.
to, for future, maybe aging discrimination, not
Oh
to just
yes.
say negative, but there's so much.
Yeah.
There's so much. I often and I'm sure you can relate to this. I often don't know how old I am until I see how someone looks at me
Oh,
and how they treat me. And I'm like, wow, okay. But lots of other things we can talk about, the financial side of things, or, how to survive that, how to thrive in that.
yeah.
There's so many.
Well, I was having a conversation with my older daughter, this one who's she's 56 now, and
Okay.
she had a breakthrough, and we were sharing. She shares a lot like this, but her whole what had come to her was the invisibility of women as they age. There is a certain point where you become invisible to most people because as you age, then the attention is on the younger woman, on the woman that has a certain energy, and there
Even the
is
older man. I don't
and
think older men experience this the same way an older woman does.
no, it's no, they do not. So this is a whole topic, and the power that really is and that the older woman uh, holds, the crone and the power, and yeah. So that it was a really interesting conversation we had this morning, and she's been reading some literature written by some women about this whole process and the whole invisibility of women as they become older, unless you're not. I'm not invisible because I refuse to be. I mean, and
Exactly.
in my world I'm not invisible. I'm sure, if I were to go to downtown Beaufort to restaurants or bars, there's a way that people would not,
It's
that I would
definitely
be invisible.
interesting. And I think if you're open to it, I think we should do at your next availability, we should do a show on this, and we'll wear our royal purple.
Yes, you will wear a
Our
royal
purple.
purple.
I
I
think
love
that,
that. I love it. I do.
yes, I
Yeah.
like that. I want to thank you, Ifetayo. You've
Yes.
always, I'm sure you've heard this before, but you bring across this energy of just calm, grounded, and it shall be.
Yes, it shall be.
That's that's what
Yes.
I get from you. Like I feel like my blood pressure goes down, and I'm sure that's your
Thank you.
effect on everybody who meets you.
Thank you. It's
Uh,
my practice and commitment to myself that I will
that's
radiate
what it
that
is.
for everyone. Yes,
It
thank you.
spreads to others because you commit to yourself.
Yes,
That
yeah,
is our biggest lesson today. So
yes, yeah.
thank you so much.
Thank
And
you so much, Tammy.
like usual, I know we've said this in our last podcast, but you can always message Texas Desert Rose YouTube, Facebook page. And also, do you want to remind everybody of your, I can't remember. Yeah, you did send your email out last time, didn't you?
Mhm. I
Uh,
did.
you want to
I
remind everybody what that is?
I will, well, let me just give you my Facebook page because that
Okay,
is easier to remember if you
even
know
better.
my name, ifetayowhite.co, and Ifetayo White, Ifetayo White, WHITE, one word, .co, not
Dot co.
com, but .co.
And that
And
is your website?
that's my website. So
Okay, that's
people
great.
can be in touch with me through my website. You can find out what I'm up to on my website and all the things.
Keep up with you. I love
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
We're lucky to have
Yeah.
you in our lives, Ifitayo.
Thank
Thank you so
you.
much. And
Thank
thank you,
you.
everybody. Please like, share, subscribe, follow. And I really appreciate you.
Thank
Uh,
you.
blessings to you.
Blessings to you. Be well with the weather. And
Yes. Bye
thank you.
now.
Bye now.